I've been working on a couple of ideas for generating MIDI sequences using the MIDI effects within Ableton, building a couple of racks. Racks that allow you to, well, in this instance, to take some single notes and generate some more melodic tones with a single note. You can hear an example in the background playing now. I'll show you what's actually going on. And as always, if you're interested, later on I'll show you how you can build this MIDI Effect Rack for yourselves, for your own music. Okay, so I've got a very simple sequence running here, and single note running into analog here. We can close this. I just wanted to show you what it's triggering. Single oscillator on analog. You could put it in any instrument here. So this is the MIDI rack, and we have here the methods for controlling the pitch of this trigger, if you like. I mean, these notes can go anywhere. You can place them with any kind of melody or tune in that you want, any sequence you like. So, but you can affect the initial note with note 1 pitch. But we have some 3 pitches we can adjust here. Even though we only see 1, we can actually control with this rack 3 pitches. We can adjust the length of those 3 pitches, the frequency of 2 of them, how often they trigger at what repeat rate, the range over which they will produce a pitch, and then some modulation. We can modulate the length of the notes being played here. If I increase this for note 1, you can hear that note 1 is modulating its length, changing in length. We can also change, as I say, the range. I'll do an extreme example. So it's generating a new note every time it goes around. It's a random note. And you can control the range of this here with this value. Something about 1 or 2, doesn't vary much from the original note that's been placed here in a sequencer. So we have as I say, we have a way of introducing new notes, which we'll come to, a way of adjusting how these note triggers, what pitches they play back, the length of them, and then we just have some stuff here to change scales, root notes, etc. 2 controls for the root notes and the scale. Okay, so what are these other notes then? Well, we have here note length 1. It's set to a 16th at the moment. If I turn off the modulation, I can make this quarter notes. I can turn it off, 64ths. So you can see these are purely triggers. The length of them has no real effect here. The only thing is you need some gap between each note, as I'll come to in a second. Okay, so we have the length we can adjust here. Let's put it back on 16ths. If I introduce the second note, this one is playing 3 semitones higher, and this is affected here by what's called note 2 frequency. Maybe if I open the rack a second, where are we? Here. So if we have a look at note 2, what I'm using here is this note echo function. And so when I increase this value, I can effectively add a delayed note to my note 1, my initial note. So this is playing, I believe, 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16, 5/16, etc. So I can turn off just note 1, and if I put this on a long delay, you'll hear it's completely out of sync now. So we have a delayed note for note 2 and also the same for note 3. So I can bring this back down to a more sensible value. So 2/16, it plays 2/16 after the first note, so let's reintroduce that again. So if I have this on the 16th, the second note is playing 2/16 or 1/16 afterwards. 2/16 afterwards, sorry, I apologize. What is it? No, 1/16. Let's go. Yes, because if you put it on one, it plays together. If I put it so it's playing the 16th note behind. Note 3 is basically the same. You can introduce the third note, and here I believe I'm gonna have to close this all up again. Let's have a look. I believe this one is playing, yes, this is playing on 3/16, so 1/16 behind. And then we have here the pitch range for note 3. So we can, using these triggers, play 3 notes. And if we were to play with these note lengths, we can start to build very simple melodies. We can change the frequency. And just play around with all of these macros to find interesting sequences, if you like. It's just very simple stuff. Okay, let's carry on. Let's put that back and drop that back to a 16th. So what else do we have here then? So we have the note range. So if we have these 3 playing now, and I'll move this one up. There we go. That's our sequence. And we have our frequency here. Here we can introduce, as I showed earlier, some variation. Small amounts work best, I find, 1 or 2%, but I've given it a wider range of 7%, but that throws it off a little bit. Maybe 2 or 3%. Let's leave those on 2, and we'll use this as a bass note, and we'll bring this one up. I don't know. So we keep our bass note always on one value. Actually, let's give it a 1%. It'll vary it a little bit. Okay, and then finally, as I say, you can modulate the length. I'm using here this note length function, and this is being modulated here. What are we on? We're on note 3. So if I increase this now, you'll see it's starting to vary the length in sync notes of note 3. We can introduce that for note 2, and note 1 if you like as well. And as I say, by keep that on a bit longer. Just by playing around here now, we can find all these little melodies. Change our scale. The scale function is here. So we're in a super Locrian at the moment in E. Unfortunately, some of these macros don't show the value. I would have liked it here if it had shown the sync values here for the note echo here, or at least a value. It just shows 0 to 127. I can't change that. So you just, if you need to, you just can pop into the rack and see. But the purpose of this rack is really to sit and play around. You know, just play around, see if anything comes along you enjoy. Okay, so that's everything. That's how it works. You can, of course, randomize if you want. I believe these ones here I've excluded. The pitches I've excluded. You could include them if you want, because we have here a scale function which is locking any notes that are generated here, whatever the semitone value, they'll be locked into a scale here. Each of these has a scale function on it, which we'll come to in the build. Okay, let's have a go at randomizing. You might have to adjust the note frequency a little bit. So you'll find something you like. It's just a little bit of fun, really. Okay, I hope that's understood. I say, I call it the strange MIDI machine. It makes strange MIDI sequences. Bit of fun. Okay, let's have a look then how this is put together. You will need then to begin with MIDI Effect Rack. You'll find that here, MIDI Effects, MIDI Effect Rack. And just drag that in here to a MIDI channel. I'm using my original rack. So when you press here and get your macro controls, you'll have macro 1, macro 2, macro 3. You can rename them here. Right click, rename. And you can use my name or choose a name of your choice. We'll need all 16 of the macros, so we press the plus until we get those. We're also going to need this down here, the chain. So this little icon at the bottom, we'll click that open to begin with. So let's drop in a few MIDI effects. We're going to need the expression control first. Then we will need a pitch. The scale function here. And then we need finally the note length on the very end of this here. So this is the first of our chain, so we'll rename this here. We can call this note 1. So this will affect everything to do with note 1. And we will come here, we will go into our, actually we'll set up the note length first. So we'll have a look at the note length. A couple of things we need to do there. We need to switch this here to sync. So that's okay. On the scale function, that will map, there's nothing to do there. The pitch, we don't have to do anything there either. And finally on this one here, we have a few settings we have to make. We will go down to the increment here at the bottom, and we're going to change this here in the source to random here. So we have random, random. And we will change this to bipolar. The number of steps we will change to 2. The random value to 100%. And we will map this here to our pitch. There we go. Okay, we can just reduce that a little bit. We'll map this later. You can see now it's affecting the pitch here. It's randomizing. Now we'll go to the second randomize. We do the same thing, set it up in the same way. 2 steps here. 100% random, bipolar here. And this one we will map here to the note length here. Now you can see that's starting to be modulated here. We can just drop that down a little bit. Okay, so that I believe is everything set up here for the first note, and we can now go on to here and we can duplicate this, and we will now rename this one here. We're on the bottom one here. We'll rename this here note 2, and now we need to add an additional function to this one right at the end, very end. It's the note echo. So we'll put that in there, and we need to do a couple of settings here. So just close this for a second so we can see. That's all set up. We don't have to do anything there. So the note echo, we want to put it onto mute. So that basically means that it won't repeat the note it's receiving. So on this note 2, it'll receive a note from the sequence you put in here, but it'll mute it, and it'll only play the echo. So we need to reduce the feedback as well. We don't want it acting as a proper delay. We just want it to produce one additional note, a copy of whatever notes has come in. Okay, so that's set up. This we will map in a second. There's nothing we need to do there. Right, so once we've got that, we can duplicate that one again. And this one we will call note 3. Okay, so we should have the two, these are all mapped as before. Okay, so I think that's everything set up, I believe. We just need to go through and map our controls to the macro. So we'll start with note 1, and we will map here the pitch to note 1 pitch. We'll go to note 2, map that pitch to note 2 pitch, to note 3, map that pitch here. Then we have the note length, so we can go back to number 1 again. Might be best just to scroll. Actually, we want to get this control here, length, and we'll map that here. The same we'll do for note 2, so we'll go in here, and we'll have to open this one up, and we need to map the length here to note length 2. We'll repeat that for note 3. We'll grab the note length here and map that. Okay, so now we need to get the note 2 frequency. So if we go to note 2 here and go to the note echo, we need to click this box here, the delay time, and map that here. We can go back to note 3 again and do the same thing here on the note echo. We can map this to note 3 frequency. Then we have the note 1 range. If we go back to note 1 here and go on to the bottom rand, the pitch, we need this value here, this 23, and we will map that to note 1 range. Did that go? Let's try it again. There we go. Sometimes you have to double click on these. Same thing for note 2. We'll go to note 2 again, down to the bottom pitch, click this one. Yep. There we go. And same for note 3. This one here. I don't know why it does that. Bug in the program, I guess. So here we go, note 3. So we've got that one, the range done. Then we need the note 1, 2, and 3 length modulation. Well, we'll stay on 3 now, and we'll just click on the rand here above, and this is the synced length. So we'll take this value here and put that on note 3. Same for note 2. Click onto the synced length here, select that, and then note 1 as well. No, it doesn't like that at all. Okay, so we'll do that. That's got it. And then finally we just need to go through and map. So we'll close these up. Close that. Open a scale here. Close that. This. And let's get the scale open here. So we'll go through all of these and map our root notes and scale. So we just click in the C here and map it here. We'll map the scale here. Go to 2, repeat. User here, scale. And finally this one on note 3, we'll do the same thing. So we map all of the root notes here and all of the scales here. Okay, that's everything. Now, there's some constraints we need to put in here, so punch in some numbers. I will put a screenshot up now. You can pause the video, get these numbers in, and then everything should be good to go. Okay, I'll see you afterwards once you've done that. So once you've changed the constraints here, put the values in as shown, everything should work. Let's come out of the mapping, and I have here some some snapshots here. You create snapshots. Once you get the macros in a position you like, you can create a new snapshot here and rename it how you want. You would then save the rack here using this icon here. That will appear in your user library here under MIDI presets, MIDI effects, and then MIDI Effect Rack. You'll find it there. You can drop it into your various projects. As I say, every time you create a new snapshot, you would then have to resave the rack here, otherwise your snapshots would be lost. So I'll try the snapshot. Let's see if it works. Everything's okay. Okay. A little bit of reverb. Okay, I, as always, hope you can make use of the rack. Have some fun with it. It's a little bit of fun, this one. Just twiddle around, see if you get anything you like. Whack any instrument you want on the end here. I've got analog. You can choose anything you wish. You can close these up now. We don't need that. And yeah, remember you have to exclude the pitch values from randomization if you wish. You don't have to, but I chose to. And then just have a go experimenting. See what you find. Okay, take care. Hope this is useful. See you in the next one.